I'm here with the Association of African Universities Television, AAU TV. I just want to say that without the media, you won't know what's going on in the world. Even with the media, you sometimes don't know what's going on in the world. So you need to tune in to the reliable sources who are really on the front lines, who can give you the information you need and give you facts, not conjecture, give you real news, not fake news. And this is the place to find it, AAU TV.
The voice of higher education in Africa.
The proposed code would be anchored in Ubuntu, the African philosophy built on the principle that the humanities bound together and that each individual exists in relation to others. Simply put, I am because we are. Dr. Eleni Flagg-Davison, head of Research Integrity and Data Protection at the University of the Witwatersrand in South Africa, argued that framing research integrity purely through compliance, rules and oversight was not enough. She said what was needed was a shift away from rigid rules toward ethical relationships and shared responsibility within global communities. Flagg-Davison said the proposed African Code should promote human dignity, justice and community engagement, serve as a roadmap for equitable research partnerships, and ensure respect for indigenous knowledge and cultural rights. She added that Africa needed responsible data governance and research outcomes that were locally relevant and socially beneficial. Dr. Retha Visagie of the University of South Africa went further, arguing that an African research code grounded in indigenous knowledge principles could bring justice to global knowledge production and ensure that African voices, priorities, and values remain central to the research and innovation agenda. The call builds on the Cape Town Statement of 2023, which identifies skewed research priorities, power imbalances, and unfair data management practices as key threats to research integrity across the continent. Flagg-Davison, however, cautioned that the significant challenges remain, including limited resources, uneven governance capacity, and the rapid advancement of emerging technologies like generative AI, which she warned often outpace existing ethical and regulatory frameworks. The Registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, announced at the policy meeting, the highest level gathering of education stakeholders in Nigeria, attended by vice chancellors from 206 universities, polytechnic rectors, and college provosts. Education Minister Dr. Tunji Alausa, who presided over the meeting, said last year's relaxation of ordinary level entry requirements had already pushed admissions from roughly 770,000 to 1.1 million students. He said this year's reforms, particularly the removal of the UTME requirement for colleges of education and non-technology agricultural courses and polytechnics, would push that figure to 1.5 million. The meeting also ratified a shift in polytechnic admission ratios, increasing the focus on technical programs from 70 to 80%. Federal colleges of education will additionally be permitted to offer bachelor's degrees directly, allowing students to convert an existing teaching certificate into a full degree in approximately 2 additional years. But not everyone is satisfied. The Colleges of Education Academic Staff Union said it had not been consulted before the policy was announced. Union President Dr. Lawan Baza said that whenever the government was considering a policy shift, it must engage critical stakeholders and have open discussions so that the reasoning behind such pronouncement was properly understood. The minister himself acknowledged a stark infrastructure gap, citing one institution with 30,000 students but only 1,500 bed spaces. He maintained, however, that Nigeria faced a serious access to education challenge and that solving it meant removing unnecessary barriers without compromising quality. The question of whether Nigeria's tertiary infrastructure can keep pace with this expansion remains very much unresolved.
Now in health, the World Health Organization has declared the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo a public health emergency of international concern, warning it could be far larger than currently detected. The outbreak, centered in the eastern Ituri province, has recorded around 246 suspected cases and 80 deaths, with confirmed cases now spreading to neighboring Uganda, the rebel-controlled city of Goma, the capital Kinshasa, and with at least 6 Americans reported exposed. The WHO issued a declaration as authorities race to contain a strain of the virus for which there are no approved drugs or vaccines.
The current outbreak is caused by the Bujumbura virus, one of 3 Ebola strains known to cause outbreaks in humans. It carries an average fatality rate of around 30% and spreads through contact with infected bodily fluids. Symptoms begin with fever, muscle pain, fatigue, and headache, progressing to vomiting, diarrhea, rash, and bleeding. There is no approved vaccine or cure for this particular strain. WHO Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus warned that there are still significant uncertainties around the true number of infected persons and the geographic spread of the outbreak. The Africa CDC Director General, Jean Kaseya, urged communities to follow strict public health measures, including safe funeral practices. He stressed that people should not handle the bodies of those who died from the disease, warning that community funeral practices had been a major driver of infections in previous outbreaks. Cases have now been confirmed across 3 health zones in Ituri, including the provincial capital Bunia and the gold mining towns of Mungwalu and Rampara. 1 case has been confirmed in Kinshasa, 2 in Uganda and 1 in Goma, currently under M23 rebel control. The United States government is reportedly working to evacuate at least 6 exposed Americans from DR Congo, possibly to a military base in Germany. The CDC has announced it will deploy additional staff to both DR Congo and Uganda. The WHO has advised affected countries to establish emergency operation centers to isolate confirmed cases immediately and enhance surveillance at borders. It has also cautioned against border closures and travel restrictions, saying such measures has no scientific basis. This is DR Congo's 17th Ebola outbreak and the deadliest strain the world has faced without an approved medical countermeasure.
We'll be back for news on Discovery after this short break. Please stay with us.
Africa is rising through knowledge, culture, innovation, and through our universities. This May 25th, African Union Day, we gather again. The Association of African Universities Television, AAU TV, invites you to the African Academic Heritage Fair, AAHF 2026, a space where scholarship meets policy, student voices shape continental dialogue, where Africa's brightest minds and boldest ideas come together to drive Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. And this year, we are spotlighting the theme that touches every home, every school, every clinic, every community, assuring sustainable water availability and safe sanitation systems to achieve the goals of Agenda 2063. Expect a high-level dialogue on water security, sanitation, climate resilience, and human capital. A youth forum, because climate action starts local and youth are leading the way. A research and innovation pitch showcase, where innovators present practical solutions for safe water and sanitation to mentors, funders, and investors. And cultural moment that celebrates Africa's heritage, our identity, our pride. Mark your calendars for Monday, May 23rd, 2026 at 10 a.m. GMT. Join us in person at the AAU Secretariat, Accra, or virtually from anywhere in the world. Register now to celebrate African scholarship and own our future.
Hello Africa is your live breakfast show delivering informative, entertaining, and energizing start to your day.
Our expert reviews break down the headlines and help you make sense of today's news.
We bring you nothing but the most interesting highlights on our top African stories.
Plus lifestyle features, inspiring interviews, and the best on the continent.
Every episode is packed with stories that inform, inspire, and celebrate the spirit of the continent.
Catch us live every Monday at 9 a.m.
And be part of the conversation on our social media platforms.
Hello Africa, bringing the continent to your morning.
You're welcome back from the break, and now in Discovery. Kenya has officially launched the Kenya AI for Disability project during the Connected Africa Summit 2026, bringing together government institutions, global technology firms, and disability inclusion experts to develop AI-powered solutions for persons living with disabilities. The initiative is being implemented through a partnership involving the Kenya Institute for Special Education, HALA, Enable, Assistive Technologies for Disability Trust, and Huawei. Stakeholders from 12 African countries attended the launch, reflecting growing continental interest in inclusive digital transformation.
Mary Kerema, who leads on AI and emerging technologies in the Kenyan government, said the partners were not merely identifying barriers, but were co-creating practical, scalable hardware and software solutions designed to expand access, restore dignity, and unlock opportunities for persons with disabilities. Dr. Norman Kiogora, director of the Kenya Institute for Special Education, stressed that technology served as a lifeline for the disability community, noting that while technology made things easier for most people, for persons with disabilities, it made things possible. He described Huawei's investment as a game changer, one that could accelerate the development of AI-driven assertive tools and inclusive education across the continent. Huawei Kenya's Director for Policy and Partnership, Adam Lane, said the advent for AI had made it significantly more cost-effective to develop hardware and software responsive to unique needs for persons with disabilities, adding that the project would help them secure employment and thrive in society. KALA Chief Executive Dr. Shikot Gao said inclusion had for long been an afterthought of technology design, and that this project changed that narrative by building an ecosystem where AI worked for everyone from the onset. AT4D founder Bernard Chira added that technology, if designed for inclusion, could be the greatest equalizer, describing the initiative as a proud continuation for the AI for Special Needs Innovation Challenge held in 2024. Students who participated in that hackathon were also recognized at the launch, with continued support promised to help scale their innovations into market-ready solutions. The project is expected to serve as a blueprint for inclusive digital transformation, not just in Kenya, but across the African continent.
Now in sport, Antoine Semenyo scored the winning goal as Manchester City defeated Chelsea to win the FA Cup at Wembley. The Ghanaian forward's brilliant 72nd minute finish secured City's 16th major trophy under Pep Guardiola and completed a domestic cup double for the club this season. Semenyo also made history as the first Ghanaian player to score in an FA Cup final.
Antoine Semenyo produced a moment of magic at the Wembley Stadium as his stunning second-half strike handed Manchester City victory over Chelsea in the FA Cup final. The Ghanaian forward scored in the 72nd minute with an improvised flick finish that proved decisive in the tightly contested encounter. The victory secured the 16th major trophy for manager Pep Guardiola and completed a domestic cup double for City following their Carabao Cup triumph earlier in the season. Semenyo, who joined City from Bournemouth in January, was named player of the match after another standout performance in an impressive debut season with the club. The 26-year-old also entered the history books as the first Ghanaian player ever to score in an FA Cup final. Speaking after the match, Semenyo said Guardiola encouraged him to create chaos and continue playing with freedom and confidence. City players celebrated wildly at full time as fans serenaded their new hero, whose winning goal is already being described as one of the goals of the season.
And now in entertainment, Asamoah Gyan says the viral Kakalika dance originated from a young dancer in Nima, Accra, long before Dope Nation released the global hit song. Gyan believes the original creator of the dance deserves recognition and compensation as the trend continues to gain worldwide popularity, with clubs like Paris Saint-Germain FC and FC Barcelona recently celebrating victories with the dance.
Former Ghana national football team captain Asamoah Gyan is calling for recognition and compensation for the creator of the viral Kakalika dance. Speaking in an interview on Channel 1 TV, Gyan revealed that he first saw the dance in 2012, being performed by a young man from Nima in Accra, years before Dope Nation turned it into a global sensation with their hit song Kakalika. According to Gyan, while Dope Nation deserves full credit for the music, the original dance creator should also benefit from the worldwide success of the trend. The dance has exploded internationally in recent months, attracting attention from major football clubs and celebrities. Players of Paris Saint-Germain FC were seen dancing to the song after their UEFA Champions League victory over Bayern Munich, while FC Barcelona also used the song during their La Liga title celebrations. Women's football club star Chloe Kelly and Olivia Smith has also joined the trend, helping push the dance further onto the global stage. Online users have since identified TikTok personality Agaya Dancer as the possible originator of the new famous moves.
Now in business, Dangote has announced plans to expand the Dangote's group investment in Ethiopia to more than $4 billion, including a major fertilizer plant in the Somali region. The project, expected to produce 3 million metric tons of urea annually, forms part of Ethiopia's effort to strengthen food security and become self-sufficient in fertilizer production. The wider investment package also includes a power plant, pipeline packaging facility, and NPK blending plant.
Africa's richest man is deepening his investment footprint in Ethiopia, with plans for a large-scale fertilizer production project valued at more than $4 billion. During a visit in Ethiopia over the weekend, Dangote confirmed that the investment will include a major urea fertilizer plant in the country's Somali region. The facility is expected to produce 3 million metric tons of urea annually and is seen as a key project in Ethiopia's push to strengthen food security and reduce dependence on imported fertilizer. Abiy Ahmed described the initiative as a strategic intervention and praised the growing partnership between the Ethiopian government and the Dangote Group. According to the company, the broader investment package will also include a 110-kilometer pipeline, a 120-megawatt power plant, a polypropylene packaging facility, and a 2 million-ton NPK blending plant. Dangote says Ethiopia has become one of the group's most important investment destinations in Africa, as both sides seek to boost industrialization, regional exports, and agricultural productivity.
And on international front, China has agreed to purchase at least $17 billion worth of agricultural products annually from the United States through 2028, following talks between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping in Beijing. The agreement also includes expanded access for America beef and poultry export as both countries seek to improve economic cooperation after years of trade tensions.
China has pledged to buy at least $17 billion worth of agricultural goods annually from the United States under a new trade understanding announced after talks between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping in Beijing. According to the White House, the purchases will continue through 2028 and will include major American exports such as soybeans, beef, and poultry products. China is also expected to restore market access for U.S. beef producers and resume poultry imports from states certified free of avian influenza. The two sides additionally agreed to establish new trade and investment bodies aimed at strengthening economic cooperation between the world's two largest economies. The announcement follows a two-day summit in Beijing focused largely on trade and economic relations, although sensitive issues including Taiwan and tensions in the Middle East received limited public attention. Analysts say the agreement could provide a boost to American farmers and exporters, even as broader trade relations between Washington and Beijing remain complex after years of economic rivalry and tariffs.
That is all for the news, and now let's take a quick recap of our top stories. In higher education, Nigeria admits over 1 million tertiary institution students. In health, WHO declares global Ebola emergency. In entertainment, Dangote expands Ethiopia investment plans. And in international, China to buy more US farm goods. And now, thank you very much for sticking with us on the AAU TV Midweek News. Get interactive with us via our dedicated news portals and social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube at Association of African Universities. My name is Mamiekwa Otoakwanyami. Do enjoy the rest of your day.